Hi everybody, this is Kish again. I know it's been a while. I haven't recorded a video in quite a while now. I guess probably this is my first video for the year 2023. There have been topics, especially in domestic politics and in international politics. Quite a bit of changes, very significant ones. But today we will focus. Our video is going to be on something different that you don't hear in the mainstream media. At least I haven't heard. These are, of course, on events that have happened, that has been covered extensively in the media. But the type of analysis that I am going to provide here is clearly not something, though it should be obvious to everyone, again, is not obvious and not being shown in or talked about anywhere. So the topic of this video is National Socialists All Think and Act Alike, whether it is India, Pakistan or United States. Right, so again, let me repeat that so everybody gets it clearly. National Socialists think and act alike. We will be comparing three countries, what is going on in the political situations in United States, in India, as well as in Pakistan. So these are three democracies, right? United States being the oldest democracy, India being the largest democracy, and Pakistan you can probably call is the most unstable democracy. Right, where you keep going back from democracy to no democracy, military rule and all that. Right, so these are three sort of different democracies, but in the very recent past, maybe last 6 months or so, the governments in these three countries have behaved, have had the similar kind of policies and also behaved the same way in terms of how they are trying to get after the opposition, right? So and then I that's what we're going to analyze in this video, and what are the similarities, what is common about all these three people, right? So we'll start, let's say, with discussion of Modi and Biden, right? So Modi is from the RSS and the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is ruling in India for the last at least 9 years almost now. And Biden just won a very contested, controversial election in 2020 and came to power a couple of years ago, right, from 21 January. So, and there have been many articles, many things written that Modi's policy, though Modi is considered a right winger because he supports Hindutva, and everybody just using that have always compared that Modi policies are more like Trump and not necessarily like Biden, who is a liberal and who is supposedly a left winger and is not a right winger, not just for like Christian fundamentalism or things like that. He's more open, he's more liberal, he's inclusive of everybody, like gives rights to gays, lesbians, transgender and all such kind of people, free about the immigration of illegals and all kinds of folks from everywhere. So the media tells you that Modi and Biden are opposite in policies, whereas Modi policies are more like Trump. So I am going to, again, this is the analysis and the narrative that you get from all over the news, everywhere, doesn't matter which media you are looking at. I guess I have not come across any media that has provided a different analysis than this. Even if they do, it's only marginal and not on the topics that I am going to provide you analysis on. So in my analysis, which is obviously opposite from what you get in normal media, the similarities between Modi policies and Biden policies are way more than anything between Modi and Trump. So there cannot be any misunderstanding and wrong interpretation which bigger than this in comparison of Modi to Trump, right? So Modi policies are nowhere close to Trump. And also I have used the term national socialists as the topic of this video. So why did I pick this term national socialists to describe governments like Modi and as well as Biden. And, of course, Pakistan will come to that in the end as well. Right, the current dispensation, which is ruling in power over there. So the term, okay, before I don't want to just go into that term at this point, because then that will kind of throw you off totally. So we'll come to the term. There's a reason, very specific reason why why the term has been applied by me. So first we have to understand the policies, then the term will make more sense. Right. So what are the policies, let's say, after with Biden, right? So we look at his economic policies. What is economic policies of Biden? He is a pure socialist, right? He may not be extreme socialist like a Bernie Sanders or something which is almost leaning to communism, okay, where government has to controls everything. So yes, he may not be a communist, who Biden, but he is a pure socialist. Right, and why do we say that? Because he believes in large government, he believes in all kinds of freebie, everything for free, free for votes. He believes in taxation, right, and he has now hired 80,000, I don't know how many thousand new IRS agents who are going to go after, the people to ensure that, they pay the right taxes. He believes in jacking up taxation on and regulations of all kinds on all types of businesses. So, for example, we are not drilling oil like how we used to under Trump ever since Biden got here, because he's got all these new regulations on businesses, and now he's unhappy, of course, that the gas price went up and all these corporations have been making trillions in profit, or sorry, hundreds of billions in profit, who the oil corporation, and he wants to impose a tax on them, so that windfall profit tax, so that he can get some extra money, so he can start doing more freebies out of that. So these have been the policies of Biden: tax witch hunt, and then they got all these they're going after you whether you have money in internationally, even if you try to put it in Europe or wherever in the world, even in India or Australia or anywhere. So Biden is going to get after you and make sure that you know all these transactions, though domestic, international, everywhere, you just cannot hide anywhere, and you are paying your fair share of taxes. So Modi is very similar in policy to this. How is he different? How is he having any capitalistic policy? Modi policies are equally socialistic. As again, Modi may not be a communist, just like Biden isn't, but he is a pure socialist. Because what is Modi's policy? Modi in his speech says, hey, you guys are not giving enough taxes. I'm not talking about everyone in the audience, but I'm talking about those people who are not paying their fair share. We are going to come after you. We are going to witch hunt you if you, and he has got all kinds of freebies under the sun. And that's how, unfortunately, India is a country that's how you win elections as well. So whether it is direct transfer of money to your bank account, or whether it is, the whole objective of bank account was, at least in his mind, was about being able to do direct transfer. So cut out the middleman. Okay, yes, we have cut out the middleman. That is a great positive. I'm not disagreeing. So that way, like, in the days of Rajiv Gandhi, he used to say, if government sends 1 rupee, only 10 paisa reaches the final destination, because 90 is eaten all the way in the middle. So we have removed that. So that means the Modi socialism is even more efficient. As it is, the freebies, as I see, are even more larger than anything ever seen before. Like even under Indira Gandhi, for example, Modi freebies are bigger and more than that. And it is also, even if they're not bigger, the effect is much more because it is more efficient. So if Indira Gandhi used to send 1 rupee, maybe not even 10 paisa, maybe only 5 paisa reached the end. But when Modi sends 1 rupee, 99 paisa reaches, even if you say, oh, there is 1% of corruption. Right? So the effect of the freebies are going to be so much more than what do you call, maybe even in the days of Indra. As it is, the number of freebies are much more. So Modi, and also not just that, Modi, just like Biden wants to put sanctions on, say, Russia or whoever he feels he doesn't like Saudi Arabia, maybe, and put kind of barriers on trade and, items coming in, like, for example, semiconductor ban against China, where we won't buy their products and they won't get our products. Modi has a similar attitude. He has imposed regulations and created barriers for import of so many products. Like the one of major one is defense import. That okay, I can say makes some sense, but not only defense, air conditioning, so many new products. India is becoming more like the days of Indira Gandhi, where we are raising trade barriers so that these products cannot be imported from a foreign country, right? And they have to be produced internally. Isn't that what Indira Gandhi used to do? That's how we had HMT, ITI making our phones, making our cars. We only used to have Ambassador and Premier Padmini, two cars. Sorry, HMT and ITI making our phones and not cars, the watches, right? And Ambassador and Premier Padmini were the only two brands of cars. Why? Because everything else was banned. You could not that these companies like American or Japanese companies, not like they didn't exist, right? Honda, Toyota, or whoever that we have today, they were all making cars and selling in America and other places. Similarly, American companies like Ford, GM, and everybody, and BMW, all of the companies that we have today existed in the world market, but they were not allowed to participate in the Indian market during the days of Indira Gandhi. Similar kind of things are what is going on under Narendra Modi. Lots of products he has banned from imports, and the list keeps going daily. So the policy is very similar to how we used to be under Indira Gandhi, right? So there are differences. I'm not saying everything is same, but economic policies, though there is here and there some amount of liberalization. Like for example, he wanted to try to do the farm laws, which are a law that bring in capitalism, but those type of changes are few and far in between. Whereas the amount of socialism, amount of all types of barriers to trade, and these things are really what the humongous amount of stuff is what is going on. And similarly, in terms of taxation, right? So raising taxes on everything, like for example, best example is probably petrol. So though the price in the international markets have come down over and over again multiple times through the last 3, 4, 5 years, the Indian government, that's Modi, has not reduced the tariffs he has imposed on petrol multiple times. Though he might have reduced here and there one or two times closer to an election, but that's not matching the amount of drop that has taken place in the price of petrol in the international market. But when the price goes up, they say, hey, it's because the international price went up. But now, for example, the price was $110 a barrel. We are down to about 70. That's the range right now. But in India, the petrol prices are still over 100 rupees, right, and have not come down. So that's an example. Similarly, during COVID also, when by international market the price crashed like crazy, India still was, I guess, 70 rupees plus, had not come down drastically like how it went down in United States, where we went from maybe $3 or so to like even $1 or $150 a barrel. And then later on, you would see arguments in India that they kept saying, hey, look, but when asked about why petrol prices are so high, they will say, hey, look in Europe and look in America, it has gone up 300%, it has gone up 400%, whereas in India, it has only gone up 20-30% or whatever, right? So that is because in India, it did not go down when the price went down in the international market. They still kept it at the same high price. So that is the reason why when the price again shot up like 4 or 5 times in international market from $30 to 110 or 120, whatever it reached, the price in United States and Europe matched that, because it's more of a little bit of a free market despite Biden coming in, right? Whereas in India, it is never a free market. It is controlled market, though they tell you it is free. So we did not lower the prices to the market level even when they fell down, and even now that it has fallen down, India, and also it is getting cheap oil from Russia, still the prices are not lowered to the level that it should be to match the price in the international markets. So that's just an example of taxation, extra overburden of taxation in India, which are all policies very similar to Biden's policy, right? So these are the socialists. So in the term national socialists, so this is where you see that both Biden and Modi are socialists. And coming to Pakistan for a minute here, so the current government in Pakistan is of Nawaz Sharif and Benazir Bhutto, not Benazir, now she is passed away. So her husband Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and whoever else, the kids. So the PPP, and I don't know what the Nawaz Sharif party is. Right, these two are together in a coalition government, and they ousted Imran Khan from power, right, doing like a no confidence motion or whatever they did. So Imran Khan has been out of power now for about a year or so, right, or maybe a little bit over. And these people have come into power, and their policies have always been socialism, right? So that is why the country is in such dire straits. They like when India implemented its capitalistic reforms in the 90s under Narsim Rao and later Vajpayee, and and it continued to an extent under Manmohan, though it didn't happen to the way it should have happened. But those type of things never happened in Pakistan. They relied on American money, for running the military and running their war in Afghanistan and all that. So as long as those money was flowing, things were great. And using that money and using that closeness to the United States, Pakistan should have implemented capitalism and built up their economy. None of that has happened, right? They have been in pure socialism. So, and now that the American money is dried up and they're not getting money from anywhere else, or whatever little they might get, but not really big sufficient, which can, keep the nation going. So they are in terrible dire straits. So, and, almost in a state of with a begging bowl, going around the world to bail themselves out. So this situation, Pakistan got to, again, thanks to being socialistic, and kind of India was in a similar situation until the, at the after the Nehru and Indira and Rajiv era, when we got to the, balance of payment crisis in 91, when, VP Singh and later what Narsim Rao governments came in. So India got out of it by doing all these capitalistic reforms. I don't know if Pakistan is ready to do. Is unlikely under the current government, because they are the same people who brought Pakistan to this condition using their socialistic policies all through. But now they're trying to blame it on Imran Khan, because he was the guy who was in power for the last 2-3 years before they took over recently, right? But really it is their policies that have resulted to this state. So just like Biden having been in power for 50 odd years, but still he is trying to blame Trump for who was a complete outsider who just came into power for 4 years, as to Trump being the cause of inflation and other things, whatever bad is with America, he tries to blame Trump after being in, an elected official, a politician for 50 plus years. Not just him, half the guys in Democratic Party like Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, she's like 90 years and about to die. I don't know, I hope she has a long life, but she can't even stand up or do anything, but she still doesn't want to resign or retire. She wants to keep on going till whatever, until death maybe. And probably then from heaven and hell also, they want to keep running for office. Right? And Biden himself at 80 plus years has announced that he wants to run for office again for presidency. Right? So this is what is going on in the Democratic Party. Same thing happens in India. Not that, anybody else is better or anything. And Pakistan as well, of course. Right? So same... India is probably worse, India, Pakistan. We have families themselves running over and over here, but that's anyway another story for a different day. So coming back here, so now we understood that Modi policies are more closer to Biden policies and Indira Gandhi policies. Similarly, Pakistan's two parties, the PPP, that is the Bhutto party, and the Nawaz Sharif party, are all socialistic parties, right? Though people have confused that by Modi is really a capitalist and he is for reforms. That is what everybody thought in the beginning. But then when he started governing, that is, we did not notice much of capitalism in most of his policies. There might be some, I'm not saying there is no capitalism at all, but more leaning is mostly towards socialism, not really towards capitalism, unlike what people originally understood. So now we understood why these people are all socialists. Now let's talk about national. Why did I add the word national? Right. So now let's take about Biden to start with, again from the United States. So for 4 years under Trump, we had absolute peace in the entire world. There was no major war going on anywhere except probably the war against terror within Afghanistan, probably even by Iraq we had already kind of more or less withdrawn. There was only little bit remnants of ISIS. So Baghdadi was still alive, absolutely. So the war was in Iraq and Syria against the ISIS, and there was a war in Afghanistan, which were things that were there before Trump came to power. So since he came to power, and similarly there was a war in Yemen also, which had started even before Trump came to power. But apart from this, there was really total peace across the globe. There were all kinds of tensions, just like today, between Israel and the Muslims, between Russia and Ukraine, between China and Taiwan, North Korea, all the problem, India, Pakistan, India, China. So all the problem areas and everything still existed. Nothing had changed. It is not like, something changed drastically, similar scenario, but despite the scenario, he kept peace across the globe for 4+ years and dealt toughly against the bad guys like Baghdadi, ISIS, who needed to be dealt with and probably finished and eliminated. Similarly against the Taliban in Afghanistan, right? So those were the only major things that were going on. So come Biden, within no time we have the Russia-Ukraine war that started. So now what, and Biden just a few months before the Russia-Ukraine war had told us that America has no business in Afghanistan. So we cannot stay here forever. We cannot fight too many foreign wars. It's not our war and blah blah blah, and had pulled out from from Afghanistan, right? And then within just a few months later, supposedly the peace-loving guy, supposedly the anti-war party of Democrats, and this and that, all the stories we heard in the media. But the minute Russia invaded Ukraine, all that is out the window, and Biden is again egging for war. Hey, okay, great, we won't send American troops, but we are going to send every aid to Ukraine. We're not going to let them loose. And for the last 1 year plus that the war has gone on for now, one after the other, starting from some small, maybe a rifle or something, small arms, we have gone to like tanks, and now we are talking about F-16 airplanes. So, the war effort has only gone high up, worse and worse. There has not been a single peace talk, right? Now there is a G7 summit going on. You would expect that all these Western countries, along with Japan, are going to sit down and talk and resolve. Hey, how do I, fix the Ukraine conflict? How can we end it? What is the peace plan? When can we have talks with Putin so we can start to negotiation or some deal? Whatever it is, or maybe I'll talk to China and figure out how to put an end to this. That's none of that conversation is going on. What is the announcement? That United States supports whichever country wants to train Ukrainian F-16 pilots. Right? This is what they have discussed in G7, and those are how we can make this war even worse. So I don't know what's coming in the next few days. So, and what is this, the argument that Democrats are giving us as to why they need to have this war? Because they cannot lose to Russia. Right? And America has no business in Ukraine. It is not an American territory. It's got nothing to do with the United States. And if there somebody has a problem, that should be Europe. They can obviously defend by themselves. They are a strong economy. They have fought wars like crazy for hundreds of years. It's not like Europe is new to war. What business does United States have in this? But Democrats, the same peace lovers, the same anti-war folks, the same liberals. Well, of course, now there is liberals, or in the Europeans are also liberals, right? Majority of the governments, except maybe UK, you can say, which is a conservative government, but everyone in Europe, that is in the EU, majority are liberal governments. They are the ones who are wanting this war. They are the ones who are aiding Ukraine, along with Biden and Democrats. Trump did not do this. Trump is talking about ending this war within 24 hours. Right? And what is this war all about? It is supposedly about American nationalism. Right? So, if Ukraine loses to Russia, this has got something to do that it's as if America is going to lose. That is the narrative, and same thing with Taiwan. So no, if Taiwan is taken over by China, it's a loss for America. As if, right? It's not like America has no business in Taiwan. It's got nothing to do with us. That's not the thinking that Democrats are telling you. What are they telling you? These are all like the 51st states of America or something. And if those are lost, then it's a threat to America. That says it's a loss to America. So what does this tell you? These are supposedly some hyper nationalist. Right? So thinking is, and then they are willing to spend $100 billion, whatever it takes, and maybe in the case of Taiwan, Biden has said, I am willing to use American military also, right, to defend the island. Of course, luckily, at least in Ukraine, he hasn't said that. Maybe they're more scared of Russia and their nukes than they are of China. I'm not sure. But so this is showing some hyper nationalism and willingness to escalate. Not just that. So when Biden, within no time of Biden taking over as president, the enmity between United States and Russia, of course, for no obviously, but enmity between United States and China, enmity between United States and Saudi Arabia, these have all gone through the sky. These same relationships were there. Trump was fighting and putting tariffs on China too, but it was never in a situation. We were not in a situation where both were hating each other, right? So whereas now we are in a situation where they don't want to talk to each other. When everybody is fighting, on a daily basis. This guy makes some comment, the other guy makes another comment. It's like the relationship filled with super tension. Same thing with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was one of the best US allies, loyal for years together, decades. Suddenly, this Khashoggi nonsense was made into some big deal, right? As if he is the only reporter who ever died in the whole world and whatnot. I'm not saying anybody dying is a bad thing, but this is a non-issue blown up into a big issue. Right, just because whatever liberals hated this Khashoggi business, and they were like very unhappy with MBS supposedly, and so the entire relationship between United States and Saudi Arabia is almost like gone for a toss now, and Saudi Arabia is trying to join with China and join the what is that, the BRICS nations and things like that. And there is the de-dollarization has suddenly intensified, right? So the world is more and more going into the two blocks. One block with United States, Europe, and kind of India, but India is like, and Israel for sure, and other small countries like Japan and South Korea, Australia and stuff. So India is only the one who is like a little bit not in either side totally. And then on the other side, you have Russia, China, and most of the Muslim countries. So China was able to broker a peace between Saudi Arabia and Iran, which America never could for all these years, right? And they were two fighting with each other. Now they have some kind of working agreement at least. So and Pakistan, of course, has always been allied with China on one side. Of course, they got aid and money from Americans as well, mainly the Pakistani military. But so now all the Muslims slowly but surely are kind of coming together on one side and joining the Chinese bloc. So you got Russia, China, and the Muslims on one side, United States, Europe, India, and some many small countries, Israel, Japan, South Korea, Australia, all on the other bloc. So this block and this grouping and the world dividing into though they're calling multipolar, it's really bipolar. These are with these two blocks forming is only getting worse by the day, and things that Biden is doing are only intensifying the creation of these blocks rather than dissolving tensions. So now you understand how Biden and their policies are really national socialistic. So you see the national aspect and you see the socialistic aspect. So, and national and other things, I have already made videos earlier about how most wars in American history, especially in the last 100 years, major wars were either started or democratic presidents have taken United States to majority of the wars. So, and we have also discussed how it is very likely that the next democratic president post Biden, which could be Kamala Harris, most likely, may be the one who will take the world into World War III, which will be between these two groupings that we are talking about. Right? So now you understood why Biden is more of a national socialist. Right? So similar is the and these are the same kind of policies, sort of, kind of, which Modi is pursuing in India. Though, again, media told us that Modi's policies are more like Trump policy. Trump was not a warmonger. He was not trying to pick fights and wars with anybody around, with any country. He was looking for peace and capitalism. Whereas Modi, we already discussed how he is a socialistic person. Now let's talk about nationalism. So this whole Hindutva business, yes, some saw this as anti-migrant, like maybe he's anti-Bangladeshi, anti-Muslim, little bit, slightly, not really. So anti-Pakistan or whatever. So these are all, they drew parallels with this to Trump, right? But that is again, there is a mistaken analysis of the situation. The parallel is not with Trump or Modi, the parallel is with Biden and the Democrats. What is Modi's policy? He is more willing to use military. That's not me, that's American intelligence only gave the report that Modi is more inclined to use military to answer Pakistan or China than what a Congress government would have ever been. Right? So what is that? That is a similar kind of a nationalism, like how we describe Biden having, making Ukraine war or Taiwan war into a nationalistic issue. Similarly, Modi has made, whether it is Hindutva or whether it is, enmity with Pakistan, enmity with China, tensions with China, all these as Hindu nationalistic issues. Right, so they are, as you the for Modi, I think the word nationalist is more easy to understand for everyone than maybe for than Democrats, because there they thought, people think that Democrats are not as nationalist. There will, some people will describe them as anti-American also, because they allow immigration and whatnot freely. But that is a different situation. But when it comes to this type of war and foreign policy, Democrats are more nationalist and more willing to take country to war and start war, send American troops throughout history than the Republicans have been. Republicans usually end wars, whereas Democrats start these wars. The same thing as we are seeing now with Ukraine. Right, yeah, we have gone through those details. You will tell me, hey, they ended the Afghanistan war and they ended whatever Iraq war, but that's another story. We have different videos to go through that. But so, like I said, so for the modern CNN and liberal news watching audience, BBC and all, you can understand that describing Democrats as nationalists maybe, and understanding it may be a little more difficult. But nobody is unable to understand that Modi is a nationalist. So, right? So, and his policies I have described are socialist. So, he is a national socialist. So, what do national socialists do? So, now where did this word come from? So, national socialist, when translated in German, and shortened is the Nazi party. Okay, so the Nazi, the word Nazi is, I don't know German, but if you expand it, it means National Socialist. Okay, that is the English translation of Nazis. So Nazis were also socialists. They believed in socialism, and they were also fanatic about the country. Like Germany should be number one, and we're going to fight and make Germany rule the whole world. All these feelings, and then inside Germany, whoever is inferior and things like of that nature, Jews are bad. So those are the types of. Similarly, in America, Democrats will think that Republicans are all bad, conservatives are evil, and we'll come to that. What are their policies that they have followed, and why? I am saying National Socialists all think and act alike is coming next. So now that you understand what National Socialists are. So, so Hitler was the leader of the Nazi party, right? And we have now understood that Democrats and Modi policies are closer or can be termed as National Socialist parties, and is very similar to Hitler policies. Right? I understand it's not the extent of evil, may not be the same. We have not had Cold War, haven't had the concentration camps and those kind of things, but that may come in the future. But as of now, the policy wise, where these two politicians are, is not much different from National Socialist Hitler type policies. And they both, remember, also fought against communism. Who? Hitler. Right? So Hitler was, though he was a socialist, he was not a fan of communism, and he started war against Russia, which was a communist country. Right? So remember that being National Socialist does not mean you're a communist. Right? You can still be anti-communist. That's how even Modi is kind of anti-Congress a little bit, because you can say Congress are more communist leaning than BJP is. Right? So their BJP is more of a National Socialistic party, at least under Modi. I don't know, we can under Vajpayee it might have been different, but under Modi as of today are more National Socialistic. So similarly, let's talk about Pakistan. So Pakistan is similar and no different. These guys, Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif, these are all the same people. They supported the terrorists in Taliban, though they may not be part of the military, but they are part of the terrorism. They are part of jihad. They are part of all these things. They are part of oppression of people inside Pakistan, like Hindus, like other Shia, Sunni. Yes, they may say that I am anti this and whatnot in their speeches, and probably some of them may visit a Hindu function or something, but really it's under these people's rule only that all this has been going on. Right? And they're also anti-India, and as far as Kashmir is concerned and everything. Look at Bilawal Bhutto and all his comments. He's the guy from the PPP, supposedly the moderate guys, not the extreme guys, who is what they tell you, that the military is my extreme and PPP is moderate. But Bilawal's comments are nothing moderate against whether Modi or India or anything. So they are nationals too. So as far as the Islamic Jihad and Muslim, objectives are concerned, so the Pakistani parties in power, though sound moderate, are no different than national. And so in these ways, I don't know if you want to call them extremist, but they're surely nationalist. Right? So, and their policies of socialism we already discussed. So all three are. That is why I termed them as National Socialists, not too different from Hitler and Hitler's policies. Right? So, and again, the difference is Hitler, yes, he came from democracy, but he became a dictator. But in these three countries, so far, supposedly, there is not a dictatorship. These people are pursuing National Socialistic policies within a democracy. Yes? So now we talk about, when we are going to come to talk about why we made this video, what is the real thing that I am trying to talk about. So look at how these three countries, the opposition of each that is really challenging their their power is being treated. Like, for example, Biden against Trump. In India, in Pakistan, these guys Nawaz Sharif and PPP against Imran. And similarly in India, Modi against all the opposition leaders, especially Rahul Gandhi. And the other one we'll talk about, which is very critical, but most people might have missed it and missed the real reasons why this happened, is against Kejriwal of the Aam Aadmi Party. Right, among others. Of course, is after KCR or even after Mamta. Those are still minor items, but the two major ones we'll cover is Rahul Gandhi from Congress and Kejriwal from AAP party, which is the most significant. So we will go into how these three people, not only in their socialism policies have acted similarly, but just in the last 6 months, the way they have tried to treat the opposition party, whoever is opposing them and whoever is challenging them, they have been treating them very similarly as well. So this is why the video National Socialists Think and Act Alike. So let's go into those details in a little bit here. So that will be the next thing we will get into. Okay, yes, so continuing on from where we left off, so before we move further into the actions of the last 6 months, I just wanted to also briefly go over more socialistic policies of Modi, because there is a lot of non-clarity and doubts in people's mind. They think Modi is more capitalistic because he tried to do some reforms like farm laws. He's trying to privatize some public sector companies. He sold off Air India to Tata. These all, and he talks about development, infrastructure building, many such things. So these are all things have people confused that Modi is a capitalist and he is not really a socialist. Right, so but here I have gone over some of these before as well, but just to reiterate, it is important that people understand why and what are the very key socialistic policies of Narendra Modi. Right, so let's start with the government bank, starting bank accounts for crores and crores of Indians, poor people who did not have bank account for 50 or 70 years. Right, so this is a mega socialistic scheme and policy. Of course, not to mention all the freebies of free food, free gas, free water, free electricity, free whatnot. Those are all part of mega freebies, which even Indira Gandhi could not do, I guess, or it is beating the levels of even what Indira Gandhi would do in terms of freebies. Plus, there is mega a more efficient socialism from Modi, because he cut out the middleman and he does direct transfer of money into people's accounts. So there is no eating away or no corruption in there. So the money reaches the final recipient directly. So which means that if Indira Gandhi would send or Rajiv Gandhi would send 100 rupees, only 1 rupee or whatever 10 paisa would reach, or whatever 10 rupee would reach the farmer. But here, even if Modi sends 10 rupee, the whole 10 rupee reaches, right? So the impact of socialism under Modi is going to be 10 times more. So if he sends 100 rupees, just like Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi would send, probably he will send more today, because the economy is so much better since Narasimha Rao, Vajpayee and Manmohan Singh have improved it through capitalism. So you will have a lot more money hopefully to send. So instead of sending 100 rupees, Modi may send 300 or 500 rupees compared to Indira's days. So, and all of it or most of it reaches now. So that means the effect of the socialism is probably not only 10, maybe 20, 30 times larger than what it was under Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. Right? Because they were in a corrupt system. So anyway, that is about the freebies. But just coming to the major schemes, whether it is the bank account opening or the UPI, which is the money transfer, where the government has created some system which allows for interpersonal money transfer from one person to another, and all these. So these are blatant examples of socialism and of government trying to interfere in the free markets and not allowing private businesses to function. So the same bank account opening or money transfer could have been done easily and highly efficiently and in competitive way by the private sector. Like for example, Indira Gandhi had national phone service, so phone line, phone device, phone, everything would be done by the government, and the phones barely reached even the rich people. They were having hard time trying to get phones in India back in the 80s. We remember, right? 80s and 90s. I remember that in my family there were only one or two super rich folks who had a phone line, and none of us could even afford phones or make a phone call until the STD IST revolution kind of started under Rajiv Gandhi. And even after that, we could not have phones in our house, right? So in order to get I remember that the first 2-3 years, even after I had come to the United States, there was no phone in my house in India, and to make a phone call we had to and talk to my family. It was such an ordeal. But once Manmohan Singh and Vajpayee came in, of course, they allowed mobile phone revolution. When it came around, the technology, they allowed free hand to the private sector. When government said we have no business in this, we are going to stay away, we'll let private take over. And today we have a mobile revolution in India, where even the poorest of the poor person is not getting a government given free phone or a free service. He is paying for it, and everybody is able to afford a mobile phone, right? Same kind of private companies would have provided bank accounts and money transfer on the mobile phone as well to every villager, every corner of India. There was no reason for Modi to get government involved in these things. So how is Modi doing government bank accounts and government UPI different than Indira Gandhi nationalizing all the banks? So this is nationalization 2.0 that Modi has carried out, right? So it is not capitalism, it is pure socialism. So, and this is one of the major examples, and everybody is touting, oh my gosh, RuPay is accepted in Dubai, Singapore is signing on, and somebody else is, doesn't matter who is accepting, who is signing on, how many transactions happening, it is still pure socialism, right? So yes, if when government cuts out the competition, doesn't allow a flat playing field for everybody to come in and compete, sure, government has the wherewithal to attract a lot of users, right? Because they are the only one service available. So obviously people have no choice. So in India, whether you liked it or not, you have to only buy Ambassador and a Premier Padmini car under Indira Gandhi. There was no other car for you to buy, no matter how badly you wanted it, right? Importing from outside would cost you so much taxation on top of that, so heavy duty and all that. Only like super rich probably could afford to import a couple of cars and use them in India, right? Whereas today in a capitalistic economy, every goddamn car, many of them probably release first in India even before they release anywhere else in the world, right? That is the state how things have changed in India. So similar would have been the case. The revolutions that would come from future mobile technology and all those things, all are going to be curtailed. So though the UPI and all may sound like a great idea and all these things today, eventually they are going to end up like a same bureaucracy like Air India, making heavy losses, right? So how many people are required to service all these bank accounts? How many people are employed to do these UPI transfers? We don't get those numbers. We don't understand what is the expense that the government is incurring in order to service all this. Today, even though it might be a lower number, but as time progresses, all this is going to become a bureaucracy department, right? Just like Air India or Railway or any of these other ones. And chances are that instead of finance ministry alone is not going to be able to deal with this, and we might even have to have a separate minister for banking and money transfer, right? Like we have for airline and we have for railway today. This will be a whole new bureaucracy on itself, rather than allowing for private company. Modi himself says government has no business to do a business, but he has started all these businesses himself, right? So again, this all shows pure socialism and not really being a capitalist, right? Yes, I agree that here and there in small doses we have seen some capitalistic policy. It is not complete socialism like say under Indira Gandhi. and also there is a lot of effort in infrastructure building. Even over there, he has abolished in most cases the PPP model that Manmohan Singh used to follow, where private industry would build the infrastructure. Government had some participation, whereas here now majority of the things, money is only being spent by the government without involving private in most cases. Right, you might have given some contract to some private guy. That is completely different from the private themselves owning and building the infrastructure and executing it, right? Here government may get in some contractors. That is where all the corruption and all those type of things have opportunity to sprout and become big. Though you can say maybe under Modi such type of corruption is not happening at the highest level, but I'm sure it is rampant at all the other levels even today. Right, so that is another item. And then one more thing that I wanted to touch upon in comparison between Trump and Modi. People telling us that Trump, Modi have the same kind of policies. So we went over many of the differences. Another key difference is being hard on terror, right? Wherein Modi is, though people will claim that Modi is very tough on terror, he did a surgical strike on Pakistan, and he did whatnot strike, and he is willing to send the military anytime there is something happening. But really, Modi is not hard on terror. He is very weak on terror. Unlike Trump, Trump had the military in Syria. He took out Baghdadi. He ended the whole menace of ISIS. Right. So today ISIS is only in name only. I don't think they have any. They're not that active, and they're not able to pull off any atrocities and evil across any domain. Right, whether inside Syria, Iraq, or even outside in anywhere else in the world. So even if there is very limited. Right, unlike that, whereas take Modi's case, every single terrorist is running still scot-free inside Pakistan. Modi is not able to stop or curtail any such activity. So even after almost 15 years of the 26/11 attacks, not a single perpetrator has either been brought to justice or has even been taken out inside Pakistan itself through any operation from India's side. Right, everybody is, and we have heard long, big stories about Ajit Doval, but overall he has been a failure. Right, so because none of Dawood Ibrahim or Hafiz Saeed or none of even a small cell in Pakistan I have not seen has been taken out by covert operation. Right, yeah, there were some airstrike and surgical strike. That is what people claim is the great being tough on terror by Modi. But that is nothing compared to the way Trump has been tough on terror. Right, not only that, even on fighting corruption and getting all the perpetrators from outside India, whether it is Malia, whether it is Choksi or Nirav Modi or any of these guys, and preventing future such people from forming and leaving the country, financial corruption and financial, being tough on that. Again, there is no comparison between Trump and Modi on this either. Right, so Trump has been really effective in in trying to curb a lot of such menaces. He had put a ban on all these human trafficking, and all that stuff. I myself know that many sites, once this law was passed, which are openly operating in the United States, had to completely shut down and hide and probably operate from other places like China or whatever, because they are no longer allowed to operate here. Whereas under Modi, not a single such guy, who frauded the country and ran away or anything has been caught or has been brought back to justice or any such stuff. So there is a lot of talk about what Modi would do in this field, but none of it really has materialized. Right, and even in terms of getting some Swiss bank account details, we heard that a lot of Swiss bank has provided all the information. This we heard when even Jaitley was the finance minister, and it's been years since. Not a single name has come out who had how much money, what is the black money, what were their sources, how would we have confiscated any of this money. None of these stories are there, other than the demonetization we did twice. We first banned all the notes, and now we banned the $2,000 rupee note. So this is the great hit on corruption that Modi supposedly did, is the big story that we are in media. But really, when it comes down to action, we do not see that any financial fraudster perpetrator has really been brought to justice. Major one at least, right? Minor one I do not know. The only people who are being attacked and who are being raided and stuff are political opponents, right? For political purposes. Really, what do you call these type of businessmen? You saw instead, in fact, Modi's policy, even if there is wherever little bit capitalism is aware is to be seen, are all more like crony capitalist trying to help his buddies Adani and Ambani, right, and making some policies and schemes which are going to benefit their business, which are going to benefit these guys to enter into different markets and make more money for themselves, right, rather than creating a open playing field where every capitalist, irrespective of affiliation, company, country of origin and things like that, could come in and operate. For example, the MasterCard guy who was the CEO of MasterCard, Indian guy, Sardarji, I forget his name, and now he became the World Bank, I think, CEO, head, or he is going to become. So he has also made a comment back then itself that all we are asking as MasterCard and these companies is create a equal playing field for us, so we can also compete in India. But all those were ignored, and we have gone ahead with UPI, government-based money transfer, which is trying to kind of compete with Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. Not compete, like finish them off, and this replace them basically, so that there is no competition really, that they cannot even operate, the other guys. And the claim is that UPI is much cheaper than American Express or any of the other parties. Yes, initially everything starts cheaper, right, because government is subsidizing this with taxpayers' money. But eventually what is going to happen with government schemes is they will end up more expensive than anything else on the planet, right? Like for example, Air India, and with the worst type of service also. Take anything, majority of the things the government does, whether it is Air India, whether it is government schools, whether it is government hospitals, whatever these things are, the service is most pathetic. And in government school and hospital, probably there is no fees, but if there were to be fees, they will be the most expensive on the planet, right? Like for example, Air India. And in order to keep them in business, the government will have to make the playing field so uneven that others cannot even survive. So under Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, we had days when, other than Air India, there were no other airlines available in India. So whether you liked it or not, this was the only thing. Whether you like the service, whether you are okay with the price, nothing matters. This is the only option for you, right? So same will be the case, that UPI and all these bank accounts and all will eventually end up in some scenario similar to this. Anyway, so that was just about socialism and national socialist, right? And national also we described about Modi, that American intelligence itself tells you that he is more willing to use the military to answer Pakistan and China than anybody else. So in the case of Pakistani terrorism, there is no point, or it is more risky to take your military and go and try to start a war or provoke some action in Pakistan, right? To solve the terrorism problem, you do not need military war. What you need is covert action. Quietly, silently infiltrate some of these groups, get some folks into like in the movie, like you can say Phantom. Right, I don't know if any of you have watched this. Most of you have watched it. I would think most have not, because in India these are not the popular movies. Some garbage dancing and singing and bullshit by Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan are what becomes popular, right? So whereas sensible movies don't. So if you haven't watched, please watch Phantom, right, with Saif Ali Khan. That's the only movie ever of Saif Ali Khan I've ever watched, right? And that's the only decent, sensible movie that has been made with him in it, in my opinion. Okay, so that is an awesome movie. It just kind of shows you those are the type of how you tackle the terrorism issue from Pakistan, right? We can answer to them in their own way. We don't need to send military to have a major war with Pakistan and try to risk nuclear war. But I'm not saying we should not get POK. Maybe for that we may need some military action and things like that in a very logical, well planned out, sensible way, which should not provoke into a larger conflict. But apart from that, for dealing with the terrorism angles, we just need very, very efficient, effective covert operation. Right, so that instead I don't see any of such policies pursued by Modi, other than these 2 year strike and surgical strike, really using the military. So in that way too, it is again national socialism, right, which Modi has been pursuing. Now coming to, now having gone through this, we will come to the real core of where we are going. What we want, the objective of this video was, in the last 6-8 months or so, how these people have all acted in similar manner, whether it is the Pakistani current government of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. Again, I mentioned, I forgot to use the word Zardari also, because it is the husband who is now the who has inherited the name and inherited the government from Benazir Bhutto, and inherited the party, I mean, from Benazir Bhutto, and before her Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. So it's Zardari, and the son's last name is also Zardari. So Bilawal Bhutto Zardari. So these are the guys along with Nawaz Sharif. So whether it is them, whether it is Modi, or whether it is Biden and the cabal of Democrats in America, how they have acted in a similar fashion, used similar tactics to go after the opposition, that is new, kind of, which has come up new, and but though them being new, have already made waves, right? So let's go about how they have acted in similar fashion to kind of stop the opposition party, and discuss that in detail one by one. Let's start with Pakistan. So in Pakistan, we had the party of Imran Khan, who is what is this called, Tehreek-e-Insaf or something, I don't know what the acronym is, TTP, or I'm not sure exactly, right? So his party, whatever it is, right? So he's a cricketer who has never held any other job, as far as I understand. I guess he comes from a rich family as well, and he had gone off to the UK to study when he was young, and I think he started playing cricket over there. Maybe he played some back home in Pakistan too, but that's when he became really popular in playing cricket. And and since then he has represented Pakistan in the cricket team, and in 1992 he captained the team that won the World Cup. So, and later on, most cricketers generally don't get into politics, or even if they do, they're not taken that seriously. But in the case of Imran Khan, he changed this norm, and he became a really popular leader, and he had appeal in the masses that given how the corrupt affairs of the other two parties which have been in power, whether it is Nawaz Sharif or whether it is the Bhutto Zardaris, right? So those guys have been corrupt, though they have been ruling Pakistan for 20-30 years odd, interchangeably, one after the other. Right, these were the prominent parties. So he came in and he challenged them, and after 22 odd years of struggle, finally, I agree, though many people say it was with the help of the army, but of course army is a very big player in Pakistan politics at all times. So in any case, he out of nowhere kind of ended up finally becoming the Prime Minister of Pakistan, right? So initially when his party was formed and stuff, the others kind of underestimated him. They thought he is just a joker, then he's not going to be able to do much, nobody is going to care for him. We are the political heroes of Pakistan, we have been doing this for years and decades together. Who is this new guy who came yesterday? What can he really do? So this was the kind of attitude that they took. But once they saw that he really can get into power, and similar is the case in America, United States, as far as Trump is concerned, right? So Trump was an outsider, he was never in politics, he was in, as far as politics is concerned, he was a nobody. He might have been a celebrity or whatever in TV shows, he might have been a billionaire, and all those things, those are in private life. But as far as politics was concerned, he was a nobody. And then when he first entered politics, people laughed at him. Oh, this guy is a joker, he's an entertainer, he's just going to make fun, and he's going to phase away after some time. He'll make the primary interesting, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him crack jokes and do whatnot. right? So everybody kind of wrote him off. There is no chance that he can ever be president and all this. This is the reaction that majority of the Democrats, especially, including many Republicans too, how they reacted when first Trump announced his candidacy and he continued to pursue the primaries and pursue his really his shot to try to be president. And then to finally, to everybody's surprise, he even ended up winning the presidency, right? Though all these people were only laughing at him all through the race and thought that this guy is a nobody, he cannot do anything in politics. So Imran Khan and Donald Trump had similar entries into politics. So in so many ways there is a lot of similarities, right? Were laughed off in the beginning. Of course, Imran Khan had been in politics for a much longer time than Trump had. Trump just got in like a year or two before the election, whereas Imran Khan has been building his stuff for 20 plus years. That might be the difference, but anyway, both are outsiders who were from who had made their fame in their own ways in different fields, and then they got into politics, were laughed at and ignored in the beginning, but in the end they finally ended up getting the top job in their country, right? So once this happened, suddenly the opposition parties woke up, right? It was like a shock for them. Oh my gosh, we have been doing politics for 100 years in this country, whether it is Democrats, or 50 odd years, whether it is the Pakistani, Bhutto Zardari and Nawaz Sharif parties, right? So how is this guy who came yesterday, who is a nobody, who is a joker, who is an entertainer only purely and doesn't know anything, how is he able to connect with the people? How is he able to win elections? He is now become a threat for us. We got to somehow get rid of him, right? No, do whatever possible. We need to get this government out of office. We need to ensure that this guy never gets stands in another election or wins another election ever again. And if possible, if I cannot do it by defeating him in the polls properly, honestly, I'm going to do all kinds of schemes and and methodology, put him in jail, disband his party, do everything that I can in order to ensure that this threat is taken out, right? So that is the approach, and that is the new thinking that both these parties, whether it is in Pakistan or whether it is in United States among the Democrats, that they evolved in once they were shocked and once they saw that out of nowhere this person who is a nobody could suddenly come in and challenge all of them who have been in this game for decades, right? And beat them and become powerful and become accepted by the people, despite them coming from high towers of money, fame, wealth and all those things. People still gravitated to them than the ones who were pretending to be for the people, though they were totally corrupt and in office forever and enjoying all those privileges of power. They thought they were the messiahs of the common man, but it turned out that that was not the case. And these people who were accepted as the messiahs, and not just simply them talking, they even ended up reaching the top office. So immediately, out of the shock, these parties were now having to overcompensate for initially ignoring these people and not taking them seriously and not doing anything, fighting them probably from the ground up since the beginning of their political careers. So rather than having to do that, then now they have to overcompensate and try to kind of create false cases, create whatever they can to get that threat, to eliminate this threat. So what has Pakistan done? So in Pakistan, they have created all kinds of false cases, though the most corrupt people are the Bhutto Zardaris and the Nawaz Sharif parties, who have been in power and making money, looting the people, looting the country for decades now. They turned around and named Imran Khan as the guy who is most corrupt and who did all kinds of corruption and all kinds of things. in Pakistan, trying to blame him, and they created all kinds of false and fake cases against him and his people, and they even got him arrested, right? So, and took him to court. So similar is the case with Democratic Party in America. So they have cooked up all kinds of false, fake narratives against Donald Trump, which I'm not saying it is not totally unreal that he did he not take documents to his house. He probably did, I'm sure. It is, we have evidence, we have documents from his house. Did he pay hush money to this, what's her name, to the porn star? I'm sure he probably did pay hush money to the porn star. But none of these are anywhere, in any way, even coming 10% close to the kind of crimes that Hillary and Biden and all these other guys in the Democratic Party are likely to have done. And which Hillary used her own personal server for conducting Secretary of the State business. So how many classified documents would have been going on to her personal server? How many could have those been hacked? Did anybody go and do an investigation on that? And Biden's team had the documents in his house lying for years, and none of these are precedents even. So how they were able to keep classified documents? How did they even get access to it? Right? At least in the case of Trump, he was the president. He has the authority to declassify documents. Obama has taken truckloads of documents at the end of his presidency. Nobody is questioning him. No FBI went to raid him. So these are all selectively, and 130,000 paid to a porn star. 130,000? Are you kidding me? Trump is a billionaire. What is 130,000? Well, Biden has gotten bribes in millions. Hillary has gotten funding into her charity, whatever the organization, pay for play, in millions from multiple international, organizations and international personalities, whether it is Ukraine, whether it is Saudi Arabia, who knows what all they have sold to these people, right? In case of Biden, it seems to be clear this money is paid only to get influence, through Hunter, obviously doing all this dirty work for Biden. And why did they pay him? Why did the Burisma keep Hunter, who has no brains, who's been a dope all his life, as if he is some expert? He has been the advisor to this company or something. What are they keeping him for? And why do you think they're paying him? Obviously, this is all to get access to Vice President Joe Biden, who was the Vice President at that time, right? There's nothing else in this. It's pretty obvious. But FBI had the document. They had allegation that Biden had received bribe or paid bribe or whatever the hell it was. But they did not, and it was not from some Tom, Dick and Harry, but a very reputed FBI person. But FBI conducted no investigation on that. There were no raids done into Biden's house or his accounts or anything like that. Whereas on some flimsy, nonsensical, all erroneous kind of allegations against Trump, FBI conducted investigation for years about Russia collusion. Now, and when none of that flew anywhere, we could not find anything in that. And later on, every one of it has turned into being a hoax. Now they upped the ante, and they have Trump indicted in 2 of these cases so far. I'm sure more is coming. January 6th, whatnot, anything and everything that they can think of and can find, they're going to throw at Trump, because they want to make sure that something sticks, right? And that they end up getting a conviction against him. So what is the objective of all this? So at least in the case of Pakistan, whenever Imran Khan was arrested and brought in court, the Supreme Court at least was with Imran Khan, and they were sensible. At least they saw what the government is trying to do, right? And they had him released multiple times, not just once, saying that the arrest is illegal and get this guy, release this guy immediately from arrest. Right? And at least that sense prevailed in the courts in Pakistan. Whereas that I don't think is going to prevail. Neither has it prevailed in America, nor has it prevailed in India. We'll come to India in a second, what Modi is doing, how he's doing similar things in India as well. Right? So the courts are also in cabal with the Democrats, especially courts in liberal states like New York. I don't know, we'll see what happens in Florida. right, and they are going along with this case, and I don't know, we'll see what the verdict is going to be. And the verdict in United States is done by the jury and not by the judge. So all they have to do is pick some 15, 20, 12 whatever odd jurors that they are, Trump hating liberals in New York, and they can easily get a conviction, right? It's going to be a sham of a trial, basically. So that's what they're trying to accomplish, and they are throwing everything the kitchen sink now as overcompensation for ignoring him earlier, to ensure that he either drops out or cannot run or whatever in the 2024 election, and will not be at least, even if he runs and gets the nomination, he should not get elected, because people should think that he is such a bad guy and did all these crimes and blah blah blah, and not vote for him, is what they're trying to accomplish, at least. And luckily, unlike India, I don't know about what is the law in Pakistan. So in America, I think the founding fathers were very sensible, and they saw that such efforts can be done by a party. So they have no law that even if you are in jail, you still can be president, you can still run for office, and you can be a president from jail also. Right? So which is amazing. Great thought from the forefathers of United States, whereas that is not the case, say for example, in India. So Modi is doing the same kind of things against his opponents. Will come to a specific opponent, which is the Aam Aadmi Party, right, and Kejriwal as its leader. That is very similar to the case of Imran Khan and Trump in the United States. But let's take Rahul Gandhi for now, and there he has gotten Rahul Gandhi disqualified from the Lok Sabha, and I guess he cannot even stand for election until I don't know for how many years, on some flimsy case, which again the court which gave him the verdict is in Modi's own state of Gujarat, where he is basically owns everything, right, including the court. And they cooked up a case and got him convicted, and he has been disqualified from the Lok Sabha and unable to contest in election, and unable to even continue as a member of parliament. Right, so this whereas at least in the United States that's not the case. No matter what all they try to do to Trump, maybe other than executing him or getting him hanged ASAP, they have no way to stop Trump from running for office, and even putting him in jail is not going to stop him from either running or winning or being president of the United States, right? Which is at least that is really awesome as far as USA is concerned. Whereas in case of Rahul Gandhi, he will not be able to contest the election, and I guess even if his party wins, he may not be able to be the prime minister. Not that we want him to be, but even if the Congress party wants him to be, he will not be able to do it until he comes out of this case and conviction and all those things. Right. So look at how in both Pakistan and United States, and what a shame that United States is now almost at the level of Pakistan, and a third world or a fifth world country as far as political witch hunts and vendetta politics, and this type of getting rid of the other guy's party and making sure he goes to jail. All these type of methods are concerned, right? This happens in third world countries, in like African dictatorships or something, where you somehow get the other guy killed off, where you somehow get the other guy into jail. This is commonplace in Pakistan politics, but that is the level of politics that the United States has descended to thanks to Democrats. See, Trump could have done the same thing too. When he got into power, everybody was like, lock her up. But he did not go after Hillary or Biden or any of these people like this. He let them alone, let those matters lie, and just focused on his presidency. But what have these guys done now? So now that when the table turns, if these people have gone after one guy, that is Trump, I am hoping Trump or even the Republican party are going to have to go after 10 of these Democrats and try to put them in jail. And they have a whole laundry list of corrupt things that these people have done, right? And the evidences are all there. It's just that nobody pursued it seriously. So that should be but where will that take the country, right? One guy, when he is in power, he puts the opposition in jail, and then when the opposition comes to power, they put this party's guys in jail, Is this the democracy and the country that we are going to descend to going forward? Right? And again, the door has been opened by Democrats. So, and we never know where they're going to go. So what is this whole thing about? Whether it is Pakistan or whether it is USA, and shortly we'll come to whether it is India as well. So the whole thing is the party in power, the party that has been doing politics and thinks that they own the country and they own the country's politics, whether it is Democrats or not just Democrats, in America even Republicans. Many Republicans like Romney, Cheney, all these are also, although in the Republican Party, they're also anti-Trump. And they have colluded with the Democrats, including Mike Pence, right? In order to aid them in getting all these charges and trying to get Trump, whether it was earlier impeached and, now convicted, and tried, arraigned, indicted, all these type of stuff. These people are also in collusion with the Democrats, right? And going along with such kind of being okay with such kind of policies and descending the country into such kind of, third world country type democracy tactics, right? So why are they doing? And same way in Pakistan, the two parties which used to hate each other, the Bhutto Zardari PPP versus the Nawaz Sharif, whatever the name of his party is, right? These two were fighting tooth and nail for 20-30 years. Now they've all come together and they're all together formed a single government only to defeat Imran Khan. Defeating him is one thing. They are now trying to get him in jail. They are torturing the people who were close to Imran Khan and telling them, get out of politics, leave Imran Khan. Otherwise, we are going to either keep you in jail forever or we are going to kill you also. Who knows? Alright, there are even death threats. Right? So this is the level that they have descended to. And why has this happened? The one and only reason is that these new people who are trying to make real change, whether it is Donald Trump, whether it is Imran Khan, and they are trying to expose the corruption of these parties who have ruled forever, right, and trying to set things right. So the fear of these parties is that if these guys come to power, then their game is up. They are going to be totally exposed. Many of them may have to end up going into jail also and spending the rest of their lives in jail, like Hillary or Biden, and his family corruption, or in the case of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, Zardari, who is like a Mr. 10% or 20%, most totally corrupt guy, right? All these things will get exposed, and that is they are basically seeing these people as a threat to their survival, as a threat to their position, as a threat to their dominance in the politics, and as a threat to everything that they have been doing for the last 50 odd years, being in politics and the way they have been running the country. So in order to save their own skins, save their own positions, privileges and everything, they have resorted and stooped to these levels and taken democracies into this into the doldrums, into the toilet bowl, whatever you want to call it. So and this happening in Pakistan is not a surprise to anybody. Pakistan is always known for being such type of a democracy. Well, it is even surprising that it is even still a democracy, right? So Pakistan doing this is no surprise. But Democrats in United States stooping to this type of level of politics is a new low. Is probably never seen before in the history of USA, as we know that no president has been indicted before, right? So the levels that Democrats are willing to stoop to is simply pathetic, and it does not serve well. I hope that this all doesn't result in a civil war and a revolution in either of these countries. In Pakistan, it is very likely, because even the military is looking like it might split. Some pro Imran, and of course the negative with Imran is that he is pro-terrorism and he is pro-Talibanis and all the thugs, right? So, and of course even in the Pakistani army, I'm sure there are dozens and dozens, if not lakhs, of people who are also in support of terrorists and Talibanis and so guys like that, right? And they will probably even go against the others in Pakistani army. who are pro Nawaz Sharif and Benazir Bhutto and her family people like Zardari, what is the Bilawal and these guys, because and the reason for that is these army generals and all have enjoyed free money from United States, especially Democrats who have been nice to them. Of course, many Republicans also, like Ronald Reagan and many before them, before and after, right? So who have given Pakistan free money, have fed the military whatever they wanted, and even kept the political parties happy with the funds that they kept sending over to Pakistan in order, and Pakistan happily perpetrated all this terrorism, created the jihadis, right? And America was happy when that was all going on. So they are all more loyal to the United States, and they still want their free money coming from America. So many in the Pakistani army who are also the whiskey generals, though they may be talking of Islam, but they're they're the whiskey guys, and these guys are pro United States, and they want to keep the money flowing. So they see Imran Khan as a threat, because he does not want to be pro United States. He is trying to be pro China, Russia, and and also pro Taliban and the such terrorists. So at least in that way, yes, though these Pakistani military guys are all thugs, but maybe in this, them being anti-terror and now pro-America, because America used to be pro this terrorism, pro the Talibans, and now they have changed after 9/11. So that is at least a positive as far as US is also concerned. So in that way, these army guys who are pro United States are probably slightly better than the guys who are with Imran Khan, who are all about pro thugs and pro terrorism and all this. But if there is a civil war in Pakistan, the chances of the Imran Khan side winning, in my opinion, are very high. Right, because just like in Afghanistan, no matter American troops being there for 20 years, they could not defeat the Taliban. Same way, Pakistani army, America supporting guys being able to defeat the thugs of Taliban and the section of the military which is pro-Talibani, pro-jihadi, is also to me very, very unlikely. So if really push comes to shove and a major civil war breaks out in Pakistan, which is already in the verge of bankruptcy, then the chances of terrorist takeover of Pakistan, not its army and its nuclear weapons, to me seems very high. And this is an outcome that I have already foreseen, and I have described in detail in my earlier videos, that the Democrats pull out of Afghanistan blindly. The outcome, eventual outcome of that is going to be that only, the terrorist takeover of Pakistan, its army and its nukes. Right, that's where we are headed as far in Pakistan, in my opinion, given how things are playing out right now. It may take a little more time, but that seems to be the future final destination. Right, now let's come to India. We have discussed US and the Pakistan for a while. So in India, we have a leader in power, Narendra Modi, who has brought the BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, to a massive victory twice, in 2014 and 2019, first time for them after 60-70 years of Congress rule, right, where they came in a full majority, right? This has not happened in Indian history before, where the RSS and the BJP gaining full majority on their own. So they had one government before of Vajpayee, which was a coalition government. That's the only time they came to power. Of course, they might have supported Janata Party governments before a few times, but their own government was once under Vajpayee, a coalition, and now for 10 years under Narendra Modi. And Modi has an expressed motto that he wants a Congress Mukt Bharat, with no Congress anywhere. Plus he has also they talked about 50-year or 100-year BJP rule. Right. So one of the major things that Modi has been involved in all through since from the beginning when he came to power is ensuring that BJP becomes the dominant party not only Congress but all other opposition parties are totally diminished or made to disappear completely whenever possible, right? And in this in this route and in this agenda, he's not spared even the allies of Bharatiya Janata Party, like even ones that who have been along with BJP for 20 odd years, he has made them diminish. Yeah, some of them even almost close to disappearance, like for example the Akali Dal in Punjab or the Chandrababu Naidu party in Andhra Pradesh, TDP, right, Telugu Desham. So these are all almost on the fringe now, which are close to disappearance almost. They barely have any seats, they barely can win anything and all that. Even the Shiv Sena, it's it's broken into pieces. Only one part is now still aligned with the BJP. The other one with Uddhav Thackeray has left them. So not only has he reduced the other parties, like opposition parties, like for example SP or BSP in Uttar Pradesh, to minuscule numbers, especially the BSP, they are almost disappearing. So who are opposed to BJP, but even ones with BJP are also have been made to shrink. And in this, even the Congress has been, which used to rule all over India, including the center and all the states at one point, is now barely reduced to 3 or 4 or 5 states in which they have a CM. And majority of North India is very few states they are still in power, who the Congress, they're almost wiped out. And in Northeast, there was a time when Congress ruled most and all of Northeast. Today, Congress is not in power in any state in Northeast. Right, they have been totally decimated. Even in places like Bengal, where Congress had a strong presence, they are almost close to 0 seats in the parliament today. I think they had 1 or 2, which even those I think I will now switch to Mamata Banerjee. So they're almost gone. They're totally gone in Uttar Pradesh. Have been gone forever, but now they're totally gone. Right, there might be even the Amethi seat that Rahul Gandhi used to win. He is lost, and he is only now was an MP from Kerala, which also he got disqualified from. So they have been working on the agenda of sort of becoming the one and only party of in India throughout the even before Modi came to power, but more aggressively ever since Modi came to power. Right. So in this line, in this agenda, now they have gone to new levels that they have not gone to in the before, maybe up to a year or so. Right. Up to a year or so, the tactics was more only via electoral gains and defeating him in the polls and coming up with agendas and new promises and things like that will make the other party lose. But what have they done in the last year or so? So they have now gone after, just like how we were discussing in how the opposition parties went after Imran Khan and Trump in Pakistan and United States. Modi has adopted a similar tactic in India, where he has gone after all the opposition parties and their leaders and trying to create false cases, whether false or real I don't know, but cases against them, getting them into jail, right, and attacking them in this way. So in that, the most recent example we saw was, to start with, Rahul Gandhi was disqualified. He was convicted in a case which is I don't know, silly, frivolous to me, right, though the comments were not appropriate. Sure, he could have refrained from making those comments. I'm not for demeaning any caste, religion, any such thing, but that does not amount to this type of conviction and jail term and punishment. If you were to do that, Owaisi and his brothers have made worse comments. Those cases don't seem to be going anywhere, but out of the blue, out of nowhere, supposedly this case was taken up in Modi's own state of Gujarat. Like I was saying, he owns the court and he owns everything over there, and they got a swift conviction, which resulted in the disqualification of Rahul Gandhi as a member of parliament in India. Right, but that to me is actually, I don't know, it is not even necessary, because I don't see that Rahul Gandhi was ever a threat to the BJP. He cannot get his act together. He is just a laughing stock. Right, I don't see what threat they pursued from Rahul Gandhi. But more than focusing on that, the real threat that that Modi pursues, right? And he is smarter than Democrats and Bhutto Zardari and Nawaz Sharif of Pakistan. He, unlike them, who allowed the threats of Donald Trump and Imran Khan to grow, and not just grow, they ignored them and laughed at them initially. And these people got into the top jobs of the country, whether it is the Prime Minister of Pakistan or the President of the United States, right? So they allowed that to happen without ignoring the threat that was rising. Whereas Modi is not like that. Modi is very smart. He sees the threat that is rising, which is not the Congress, it is the Aam Aadmi Party, right, which is led by Arvind Kejriwal. So what he has seen that is Aam Aadmi Party is very quickly rising to become the replacement of Congress in India. And of course, it is not an easy task to replace Congress. But what I mean by that is all the other opposition parties of India are at the most in one state, whether it is Mamata Banerjee, Stalin, Nitish Kumar, Akhilesh Yadav, what is the guy in Kashmir, the Topiwala, Abdullah, you name it, or Sharad Pawar, anybody and everybody are at the most a one state phenomena. They have big clout, even our Deve Gowda, they have big clout in one state. Or even Communist Party, if you take today, you can say, hey, Communist Party is in two states. They're in Bengal and they're in Kerala, or were in two states. So in Bengal, they are almost totally wiped out today. They only remain really only in Kerala as a force. And today, even now, they are in power in Kerala as well, right? So all the other parties are only a one state party. Whereas Kejriwal today, he was he started as a small party in Delhi, and he had only captured Delhi initially, and that's all he was. So for all these days, but of late he has now succeeded in winning the election in Punjab. So this made him a two-state party, right? Though Delhi is not, though they made it a state, it is really a small place. It's more like a union territory, and he also has very limited power as the chief minister there. So that really doesn't count. But in any case, Aam Aadmi Party is on the path to become a national multi-state party. So if Kejriwal can even win one more state, right, with Haryana, I don't know, maybe likely is going to election soon, I guess. So there is a chance there, or doesn't matter, whichever state he might be able to win. If he wins, he is going to become a national level party, and he can say, I am ahead of all of you other guys in the opposition except the Congress. So Congress is the only party that can say, I am still in multiple states. Whereas everyone else, who are all trying to themselves also become prime minister, they are all one party for one state phenomenons. So Kejriwal is going to come into the meeting and say, hey, what are you asking? Who are you? I am in 3 states, 2 states. I have a better, higher chance, and I should be a bigger contender to the prime minister post, especially if Congress is useless and Rahul Gandhi is a laughing stock. Nobody wants him as prime minister. So, and they are not going to make anybody outside the family in Congress as the prime minister. So I should be the prime minister, because I am the guy who is a multi-state phenomenon, unlike all of you. So he can make the claim like that, and if you give him time, maybe 5, 7, 10 years, he might even start attracting all the Congress votes in multiple states towards him and become the replacement of the Congress in India. Right? So this is something that Modi sees clearly as the rising threat, though Kejriwal has not become the Prime Minister of India or anything of that nature as of yet, unlike Imran Khan and Donald Trump, who already became in Pakistan and in United States. Modi is not going to wait for such a time for something like that to happen. He is not even going to wait for Kejriwal to emerge as the primary opposition leader replacing the Congress, right? So he wants to act today itself, right? Who? Modi, and make sure that these guys don't raise, and see if I can create some cases or anything against them and get them all into jail, get them all disqualified, make sure the party threat is neutralized. Right, so he is taking steps to do that today, and there is another reason for Modi's urgency in doing this. I will come to that next. We'll discuss that. That's very important key factor too. So what is that? So Modi is already close to 75 years old, based on his own admission or his own rule, unwritten rule, that people in the BJP ought to retire from major government roles and positions once they cross 75. So given that, it, and like everybody, people are thinking that 2-3 years into the next term, which will start in 2024 May, post the election, assuming Modi wins again, he will want to give up the prime ministership and hand over the prime ministership. Most likely the candidate that everybody is discussing and talking about is Yogi Adityanath, to Yogi Adityanath. Right, so in the 2029 Lok Sabha election, which will be 5 years after the 24 election, Yogi Adityanath is the guy who is going to be standing as the leader of the BJP, most likely, not Narendra Modi. Because Narendra Modi will have ceased to be Prime Minister and probably retired, because he will be over 75 years old. Right, so in that situation, Yogi Adityanath is clearly not as much a charismatic leader as Narendra Modi is. He does not have pan-India appeal. He is not such a great orator and a crowd puller across India. He might be a crowd puller in Uttar Pradesh and some Hindi-speaking few states, but not across India. He does not have a pan-India appeal. So, if a Yogi Adityanath has to fight a Narendra Kejriwal as the opposition leader, with Congress and Rahul Gandhi becoming diminished and non-players probably, say by 2029, and Aam Aadmi Party raising as a multi-party phenomenon and multi-party opposition to the BJP, plus look at the way Aam Aadmi Party wins election. Even Modi cannot compete with that. They get 90% of the seats. They get 95% of the seats. Even Modi, even in his own state of Gujarat, I don't think he gets 90%. The way that Kejriwal wins elections. Right? And you can argue it is because of freebies and whatnot. That's different. That is the way Indian democracy is. They work only through freebies. If somebody promises capitalism and development, say like a Chandrababu Naidu, you get decimated in politics. Right? So Chandrababu Naidu today, in my opinion, is probably the most capitalistic person in India. His career was finished probably 25 years ago itself, when the YSR of Congress beat him by doing total socialism and freebie stuff. Right? That's what gets you vote. The only reason why Chandrababu Naidu even got another chance as to be chief minister is because the Congress split Andhra into 2 states, and at that one point Chandrababu Naidu was lucky that he was aligned with Modi, and because of the Modi wave he got to be chief minister once, and the minute he left Modi, he lost the election, and the YSR son, another freebie master, Mr. Jagan Reddy, is now the chief minister, and I don't think you can dislodge him for another 10-15 years unless you become like another Aam Aadmi Party providing more freebie than him also. You cannot dislodge him through capitalism, that's for sure. So capitalism only gets you decimated in Indian elections. Right? Just like we saw with Vajpayee, we saw with Narasimha Rao, we saw with S.M. Krishna in Karnataka, Chandrababu Naidu in Andhra back then itself. And even Manmohan Singh for that matter, though he was not that much of capitalist, he had a mix of a lot of socialism, corruption as well. Right, so but that is Indian politics. So however Kejriwal might be winning, he is winning, and he is going to be a major threat to Yogi. Modi can see that already. Right, 5 years from now, not in 24 but in 29, and he might even have replaced the Congress party by then as the preeminent opposition, multi-state opposition for India. Right, so that is the reason why Modi, unlike the dumb people, that is the Democrats of USA and the corrupt parties of Pakistan, who did not see the threat of Imran Khan and Donald Trump, Modi is not like that. He is super smart. He can think very much in advance what is coming, and that's why he has already acted, and he has gotten the chief vice chief minister or deputy chief minister of Delhi, Sisodia, arrested in in some scam, whatever scam that was, alcohol scam, and has him in jail for over 2 months, and soon there might come a time where Arvind Kejriwal may also have to go to jail. Right, so that is the objective of BJP. That is the plan that they are working on. So all these plans are, and now you saw how all these have acted alike. The multiple national socialist parties, whether it is United States, whether it is Pakistan, whether it is India, in Hitler's time, he did what was called as the Night of the Long Knives, wherein he got all the opposition members killed, right, in one night. So do you know, I don't know how the details of that were, but here in a democracy, luckily you cannot do things like that. You cannot get them killed, though they will try for sure. They're trying against Trump, they're trying against Imran Khan also, right? So, but that is, even if that is not possible, they will at least they're trying to get them away, put them in jail, and neutralize the threat from their parties. Right, so this is the approach that these people are taking right now, and all are acting in a similar fashion. Now, UK, seeing all this, does not want to be left behind. Though in the United Kingdom, the current government is of the Conservative Party, the Liberals still are not keeping quiet. They got all kinds of cases against Boris Johnson, and the latest development yesterday or a couple of days ago is that Boris Johnson has resigned as a member of parliament in the UK parliament because of some cases related to some parties during COVID or whatnot, which are again silly, frivolous nonsense. Right, though in UK it might be a big deal, I don't understand. Right, but it's complete nonsense. Allegations and nonsense parties have resulted in Boris Johnson resigning as the member of parliament. So UK Liberals and National Socialists over there don't want to be left behind. So they are also pursuing similar policies. Kind of even in Brazil, Biden and his team tried to do the same policy, though they have not gone this far in Brazil, at least so far. We don't know what's coming over there. So they got the Trump-like guy Bolsonaro removed from power in an election, I guess. I don't know. And they got the socialist Lula back into power. I don't know, he seems to be very old. I don't know what exactly his age is, 70 or 80s. And he is back again, Lula, over there. And they had a January 6th like event in Brazil too. So everybody in America is accusing Trump of causing January 6th. When January 6th happened in Brazil, Bolsonaro was in Florida. He was not even there in Brazil. So was Bolsonaro the guy who instigated January 6th in Brazil from miles away? Like how if it happened in Brazil on its own without instigation, why is it not possible, or why is it not happen the same way in United States without Trump instigating anything? But such logics are not going to fly with liberals. They are going to do go along with their agenda no matter what. Right. So as of today, they have so far only done this agenda against the opposition. But what we all need to think about, I'm concluding this video, we've gone on for a long time, is this same, if they are continuing this type of policies tomorrow, because their positions are threatened by these leaders who are the real change makers, who are trying to make change in politics, who came recently into politics, but despite that, they are making big waves, gaining so much success, and trying to threaten the established players' positions, right? And this is the reaction from the established players. So tomorrow, imagine when China starts to threaten the position of the United States, maybe even the power of India, because China is a huge rising power, up and coming power, which is even overtaking the United States probably at some point in the next 5 years or 10 years economically. Plus, China is also de-dollarizing, is working very aggressively now on de-dollarizing and removing or getting out of the dollar and ensuring that dollar does not remain the reserve currency, and starting to do trade in non-dollar currencies among commodities, especially a lot of activity in the BRIC organization. Many countries want to join the BRICS, right? So when China threatens their position, if this is the reaction when these other party members are threatening their position, when China threatens position of the United States, its dominance, its number one status, how do you think Democrats and RSS are going to react to that, right? And who knows, and if there has been a civil war in Pakistan and Imran Khan side has won the civil war, the country has fallen into hands of terrorists who control the army and the nuclear weapons and are also joined with China, and India faces threat from both sides, China on one side and all the Muslims on the other, and Democrats see that America's position, which means that them ruling the world, them dictating terms to the world, and all this is also threatened. What do you think their reaction is going to be like? If their reaction when Trump threatens them, when Kejriwal threatens them, when Imran Khan threatens these folks, or when Boris Johnson threatens the liberals, this is the reaction that they have come up with as of today. So that is a food for thought for all of you. So what do you think will come at that point, which could be 5 years from now, 7 years from now, but chances are it is in this decade. So you want to think about that, as well as you want to think about what the outcome of all these lawsuits and fights and everything are. Is real change makers going to prevail? Are they going to beat this and come out stronger, especially Donald Trump, and come back to be president again? Or is some worse things in store for him? And if another leader other than Trump wins the Republican nomination, first of all, even if he wins, is he going to be able to win the election? Is he going to be able to will he pardon Trump if these guys convict him using all these frivolous cases? Or if he loses the election and Democrats return again, is Trump going to have to be in jail for multiple years? So these are all the future that we are likely staring at. I hope that things, and also just to add one last point, that the stakes of Trump not returning to presidency is not just about democracy and whether the democracy is being ruined and things like that. It is way bigger than that. The stakes are whether we are going to world war, or we are going to get world peace. Trump is the only person in the entire world today who can return to power and establish, at least postpone world war, if not prevent it completely. He can push it off for 4+ years, whereas if Democrats continue, we never know, it can start even next year or even this year, with the Russia-Ukraine situation is getting escalated by the day with no resolution and no peace talks. None of it has happened for a year plus, and only warmongering continues, especially from Democrats. And now the UK guy Sunak has joined in the same warmongering to a new level, right? Taking it to a whole new level. So will we get world peace or will we get world war is what is really at stake in terms of whether Trump can beat all this and return to presidency or not, right? So, and think about what Democrats will do to China when China threatens their position of world domination. So with all these thoughts, I will conclude this video. Hopefully you are all thinking about this and the outcomes this has on each of these countries and the world as well as a whole, and of course on the whole of humanity as well. Thank you. Until next time, bye from Kish.